Ratchet and Clank walkthrough part 8. This is Planet Eudora, and there's a few things to do here. If you come back here, you'll notice that it'll tell you that you will need a Trespasser, but you can't get one yet because it's not on this planet, so we'll be picking that up later on in the game. And for now, you'll just want to kind of look around. You can see this weird ship here. This kind of reminded me of Halo 1. I don't know why, but it did. And then you'll notice a bunch of the enemies that are hanging around, trying to chop down the trees, and buzzsaw little enemies that kind of go in circles. The enemies on this planet aren't really that difficult to deal with. I don't think I got hit really hardly at all by them. And as you notice, they just kind of look at you and then they walk up and then you hit them twice and they're dead. And that's pretty much going to be how all these enemies are. Even those little buzzsaw enemies, they look a little bit more dangerous than these big ones, but they don't really seem to do much more. Now this is probably one of the more complicated levels that we will be reaching for this, for the first part of this game. Like one of the first actually complicated levels, if you want to even call it that. And that's just because it's a little bit lengthier, and there is actually a part over here, which straight ahead of me, which is pretty easy to die on. And I think coming my way back, I did die there. It's kind of interesting. I don't remember if I left that in or not. So anyway, when you're ready to continue, you just need to stick your ratchet onto this and then turn it until the bridge comes up, so now you can walk across. And if you take a look on the map, you're going to be heading toward that question mark on the right side first, and you kind of have to zigzag your way through. So you're going to be going over a couple of regular platforms, or regular ground, and then you'll be going over a bridge, and then you'll be doing the same thing 2 or 3 times. So it's not really too difficult yet, but I don't know, the game gets harder as it goes. So if you wall jump up here, you will notice there's another point, there's another screw that you'll be able to screw into the ground, so just attack it when you can. There's another antenna in the background there, and that, like I said before, will become extremely useful later on, but I'm kind of surprised that they even have them in these earlier worlds to begin with, because they're not really, like, once you complete all the missions, I can't think of any reason I would want to just specifically search for that antenna to pull up the little robot that goes and shoots enemies. So maybe there's some other use for them that I'm not aware of right now, but anyway, so when we do use them though, they will be useful. Yeah, that was excellent commentary, right? So, moving on, just kill these couple of enemies here, and the end of this pathway will be the suck cannon, which will suck up enemies, and it will allow you to shoot them back at other enemies, like a missile. And I don't actually use it that often in this walkthrough, and I probably should have used it a little bit more than I did, but it's kind of a fun weapon you can use, and it's especially good to have all these different ideas of how to use weapons, because if you're having a hard time with a certain part, it can be, sometimes using a weapon in a weird way can get you past that part easier than using weapons in the traditional way. So just come up with weird ideas and play around with it. I mean, this was a game that was made to be a game. Just play it, have fun with it, and see what works, and see what eventually gets you past those certain parts. So a few times I end up hitting these stupid explosive boxes because I either didn't see them or I thought they were a regular box, but I'm catching on to them pretty quick, and I'm not really letting them hit me too bad. Now we're also going to be running into these enemies, which are one of the first continuous fire enemies that don't really have a certain time where they stop. And it's also kind of where the blaster sort of comes into annoyance, because when the enemies are shooting at you and you're trying to aim them with the blaster, you're also trying to dodge the bullets of the enemies. And the blaster doesn't aim very well unless you're looking and sometimes walking directly toward an enemy, and if you're doing that, that's really an easy way to get hit. And that's kind of what makes the blaster annoying in some cases when you're not actually in first person. So like right here, I'm trying to shoot the guy, and I'm also trying to dodge him, but I just can't do it. And then the camera gets in the way. This camera is not the best camera ever, and this just finally I get close enough to where I can shoot him, but oftentimes the camera will turn a weird way and I can't see the enemy anymore, and it's weird, but I don't like the camera that much in this game. You can go into the options and you can speed it up a little bit, but I found that was way too quick, and unfortunately the option below the fastest is also too slow. And for some reason, these older games love having their controls inverted by default. And especially the early Nintendo games loved inverting their controls, like the Ocarina of Time with the slingshot was where down was up and up was down, and that drives me insane, so I was glad I could change that in this game. Okay, so once you take out everybody here and collect the few bolts that you may have missed, just go on over the bridge, blow up this box if you need to. And I probably would blow up most boxes that you see. If you die, all the enemies come back, but the boxes don't. So that's kind of annoying that you can't really get bolts easily that way. But a lot of enemies do drop a lot of bolts, so that's also one way you can get them. Now you'll notice this kind of looks like Endor, because we'll be going into the trees. And right there, I kind of got hit, which kind of annoyed me, because I don't know how that really hit me. I guess the tree isn't a good place to walk when you're trying to dodge things. And then I couldn't get the camera to cooperate with me right now, so I'm walking all the way around the tree, and I'm just kind of trying to get it to where the camera wants to work for me, and I didn't want to stay in one spot because I noticed that buzzsaw was chasing me. And then I just jumped up on here, and I fell down, of course, which was like, really? How did that happen? And I think there's really only boxes and ammo up there, so it's not terribly important, from what I remember, so this isn't something you really need to worry about, but yeah, anyway, so be careful not to fall off if you want these boxes. And then all you need to do is come on over here and take out more of these enemies. Though the buzzsaw enemies drop bolts which give you a few more bolts than the other ones, so that's kind of nice. And these guys, they're just so annoying because they have that continuous fire, and that blaster would not aim correctly for me. So just kind of try to not get hit by what they're doing and sort of shoot them once or twice when the circle comes up on their body. You can also try standing far enough away where they don't shoot you, but close enough so the blaster shot hits them, so that way you can switch to first person and just shoot them that way. And then you don't have to worry about them firing at you. So when you're done with that place, which really you don't have to do that place, but if you want to kill all the enemies, well, you know, there's that area. So when you're done with there, come up here, and there's going to be a few more guys to deal with. One of those Lumberjacks, and then more of these blaster guys. And then that time my blaster decided to work perfectly, so that was nice. And luckily you get a ton of blaster ammo around here. I don't know if the ammo boxes randomize the ammo that you get, or if one ammo box will always have blaster ammo. Maybe it's just based on what you use. I have no idea. Anyway, use your wrench, bring this down. Get the extra health if you need it. So now you'll want to use Clank's glide ability, and I'm just kind of looking around, making sure that's where I need to go. And if you ever need to, look at the map. You can see how close you are to your next objective. And I'm not really too happy about this jump, so I'm gonna sprint jump, and then I'm gonna glide and just barely make it onto there. And then there's this big lumberjack guy who just kind of sits there and taunts you, but it doesn't really do anything because he doesn't chase after you. He just sits there and waves at you, so that makes it extremely easy for you to shoot him with your blaster. And there's going to be a few more of those large lumberjacks in this room here, but first I think I go up this wall jump. I think I do it after I decide that this is the way to go, because yeah, it's like you want to make sure that you check out everything, but it's hard to tell which way is the right way to go and which way has extra stuff for you to collect. And it's especially annoying when you go just a little bit forward and you can't go backwards anymore, because that's just how the level is. So anyway, just wall jump up here. There's extra health if you need it. There's a couple of boxes. And once again, pick up all those bolts. You're going to want them all. And then just keep on continuing through this level. Once you collect all the little mini bolts around here, it's probably not worth taking the time to get those ones, but you know, everything helps in the end. So then once you come on over here, you'll have to do yet another glide with Clank, which isn't too difficult. You can just boost right on over to. And as you can see on the map, I'm getting even closer and closer to the question mark. So there's going to be a few more enemies, and most of them are just these buzz saws, which aren't too difficult to deal with. They only take one shot from the blaster, and that one did not want to get aimed on with my blaster, so I just hit him with a ratchet. And then this guy ended up being kind of annoying too, and again, my camera just messes up. Like, it kept turning away. That was not me doing it. That was the game automatically turning my camera away. Man, that was annoying. Alright, so once you come into here, there will be 3 of these large lumberjacks, and even that guy directly to the right there isn't going to bother you, so just take your distance, shoot him, and shoot him until they're all dead. And I'm trying more and more to get this stupid thing to target on that guy. It's just not working though. And I thought maybe shooting that box would get it to kill him, but no, it did not. So then I'm shooting this guy, and then you will get the suck cannon, and after that, that'll be the end of this video.
Gadgetron's suck cannon can vacuum up multiple enemies, then fire them out as high-caliber missiles. Caution, enemies must be small enough to fit inside the building.